Hello, everyone. So today I'm with GF Ménard and Martin Coulomb. Hi to both of you.
Hi, Ivana.
Hello.
So Martin is a founder of Ozidea, and GF Ménard, he's a mental performance expert who coaches high achievers, including professional athletes and Olympic champions. So we're really lucky to have him here. He's worked with many companies like Cirque du Soleil and the FBI. And also he's going to be launching a new book early 2021 called Train Your Brain Like an Olympian. So for those of you that know French, the book is already available in French, so I strongly recommend it. And if you follow us on our newsletter, we've already briefly introduced you to GF. So today our goal is kind of to draw some parallels and give you concrete tips about what you can do to enhance your performance. So GF, kind of my first question is for you. With all your work and expertise, what would you say are some of the main parallels we can draw between Olympic athletes and us, professionals working in the modern office workspace, and more specifically in the tech industry like at Ozidea?
Well, in the tech industry, as everyone knows, I mean, it's so competitive, and it's a very, very demanding field. So, people who work in front of a computer, programming, coming out with products. I mean, you guys are dealing with high achievers. You're dealing with big shot clients, and they're expecting a very good result. The same thing with Olympic athletes, right? Like they have their nation that expect them to perform well. The Olympic Committee that's expecting them to perform well. So that's a parallel. I mean, expectations are high, and where expectations are high, there's a pressure to be able to perform. And in the end, I always said that as an athlete, you can be physically fit, you can be technically prepared and tactically prepared as well. But if you're not able to manage a moment, if your brain is not equipped to manage the pressure and stress to perform on a given moment, well, your physical strength and flexibility and being prepared tactically and technically is not useful. And I would argue it's the same thing in your world. Like you could be the smartest programmer, you can have the most skills, all of the knowledge, but if you're not able to perform under the heat when something needs to come out tonight, and you're under the gun and you can't make any mistakes, well, if you can't manage that moment, you can't manage that pressure. In the end, it's not very useful to be that bright. So, in the end, brains are the motors to performance, regardless if you're an Olympic athlete or you work in the tech industry. And you can't take that for granted. You have to train it. It's not a tool that's just given. There are some scientific-based techniques that I teach all the time to athletes, that I teach more and more now in the workplace, that allow people to be more productive, more efficient. So the brain is the motor to high performance.
Thank you, GF. Martin, I'll turn it to you. So you're a tech entrepreneur. You manage a large team here in Montreal and in France. So you've known GF for a few years now. So what would you say, why is mental performance important for you as an entrepreneur, but also for the team?
Yeah, when we work in the tech industry, when we look at it from the outside, it looks very calm and relaxed. We wear caps, it seems smooth. But the reality is totally different. When we're designing a product, coding a product, or testing a product, there's a lot of pressure. It's very intense. The deadlines are really tight. And we need to be very careful with the quality. Like a small bug can impact hundreds of thousands of users. But at the same time, we have to be extremely fast to have the feature first, to be on the market before the competitors, and so on. And our clients expect a lot. We invest a lot in equipment, like computers, monitors, good chair, good desk, but we invest really few in the most important tool we have, which is our brain, which does most of the work, right? So it makes many years that we're working with GF and other people as well to help us be in a good mental state to manage our energy, manage pressure in our day-to-day work. And it's been very useful, and I've given a really good result at our company.
Great. And then more from a personal standpoint, having worked with GF, what has been one wow soundbite you've had from everything he's taught us over the years?
And there's many of them, right? It's tough to pick, but I really like what GF taught us on the energy drainers, right? So there's a lot of stuff in our days that takes a lot of our energy. We know them, but we don't realize that they're there, and we're not taking action against those energy drainers. So for me, for example, like too many meetings that are too long, but I just knew it and I just kept living with it. So when I worked with GF in a workshop at the office, we had to make a list of our energy drainers. So I made a list of many items. Meetings were one of them. And then he asked us to find ways to reduce our energy drainers. So from that point, I realized that when I reduce those items, I don't get a little bit back of energy. I get like twice or triple the energy I could have got. And for me, now I live with that. I have this list that I keep beside me and I always try to improve. Another thing that's been like really useful, it's simple, but celebrate small wins, right? We're really good to celebrate big wins. So giving awards, doing big praises in front of everyone for our colleagues that do big things. But there's a lot of like small victories that we have in our day. Even though they're simple, it's good to acknowledge them and celebrate those wins with our colleagues, because those celebrations give us back energy. They give us like good collaboration with the team. And we realize that we're not maybe celebrating enough the small wins, and doing that give like a lot of positive vibe to the team.
And Jeff, what tip would you give to knowledge workers like Martin and myself, kind of trying to hustle and perform at the top of our industry?
Yeah, well, the first one I'm going to share, and I'm actually surprised Martin didn't share it, because he's told me in the past many times that he really liked this strategy I'm going to share. One of my favorite quotes is, "It is what it is, not what it should be." And, you know, if you think of, I think of some of the best athletes I've worked with, and like particularly some of the champions, like the Olympic champions and X Games champions, Super Bowl champions that I got to work with. These people make mistakes. They trip. Sometimes they're not as good as they would want to. But what they're so good at is bouncing back from failure. Is not, you know, reminiscing so much about the fact that they made a mistake or they were poor at what they just did, but to think about, okay, what do I need to do next to really come back? And this "it is what it is" mentality allows you to think of solutions, to think of, okay, well, what can I do now to make things better? And, you know, a metaphor I use all the time is having a GPS mindset. So if you think of how a GPS works, you put, you know, the address of where you want to go, your destination. So the result you're looking for as a coder, as a programmer. But as we know, it rarely goes their way. There's always going to be hurdles, or, you know, if you think of a GPS, you get to a roadblock. And what does the GPS do? It recalculates the route automatically. It finds a solution to get to the same destination. It doesn't complain. It doesn't find excuses when it hit that roadblock. It comes up with a clear-cut solution. And our brains can be wired like that. And to really take a step back when you're living that setback and really think, okay, let's stay calm here. What's the solution to this problem? And then just go on. And it's unbelievable how we can be flexible. We can have flexible minds to adapt and then finally come up with something that's going to help us. So that would be one thing. And the second thing I'm going to add is, you know, some of your people spend a lot of time in front of a computer. And sometimes it's long work days. It can be 8, 10, 12 hours. You can't expect to be just as good at the end of the day that you were at the beginning if you don't take breaks during the day. You know, and we live in a society where people are afraid to take breaks because they think they look weak, you know, and they're supposed to be tough and, you know, work 8 hours without stopping, and hey, my boss is going to be proud of me. Well, Martin wouldn't be proud of his employees that don't take breaks at all, because he knows the importance of breaks now. And so about every hour and a half, take a 5-10 minutes, go take a brisk walk to activate your brain. Eat a little bit, drink a little bit, maybe call someone you love for 5 minutes. Just change your thoughts, change the environment. When you come back to work afterwards, you don't come back the same way. And if you think of what we do with kids at school, you know, in elementary school and high school, you know, we have classes for about an hour and a half, and then we, you know, make them go outside, go run for 10, 15 minutes, you know, get your brain going. Sweat it out a little bit, get some endorphins produced, and then you come back in class and you're focused, you're concentrated. So it's the same thing, I think, for a worker. And sometimes we underestimate the power of taking breaks. And that is, for me, you know, the kind of like the recipe, if you want to follow, if you want to be just as good in the afternoon, because the client you're serving at 4 in the afternoon deserves just as much as you or from you than the one you had at 8 in the morning. And there's methods you can use to do that, and taking efficient breaks is definitely important.
Thank you both. This was very insightful, and I'm sure our audience will find it actionable as well with some concrete tips. If you want to learn more from GF, I highly recommend his YouTube channel where he shares micro videos about all of these concepts we've talked about and much more. And also watch out for his book coming out in English in early 2021, Train Your Brain Like an Olympian. Thank you both. Have a great day.